All right, it says live.
And we're back again because I accidentally closed the show somehow. We were about to do week's in review, and we didn't go too far in, thankfully. So back to Mike for that cool stuff.
Oh my God, now I can finish chewing my pretzels.
My plan all along.
And also, you have to start over.
Damn it, Jay.
Pretzels are making me thirsty.
I hate you, Jay.
So, yeah. Oh my God. So, weeks in review. I only got to play on Sunday. Sunday was a 400-point Pauper event. Pauper being that you can only use commons or uncommons from 5-figure booster sets, so no gravity feeds and no other special sets and movie sets and stuff like that.
And no primes, even if they were common or uncommon.
Yeah, no primes. Just straight up, pretty much basic figures. I really thought everybody was going to go more of a generic approach with their teams. I was totally wrong. Everybody went with the much more actual, like, named themes and sort of balanced teams like that. So, yeah, I felt like I was in a bit of trouble to start because I decided to take a trip to Wakanda. I'm still loving on the Black Panther movie, so I made a team that was the uncommon Black Panther from Avengers Defenders War, number 29, 50-point with the traded leap, climb, super senses, and the either wild card or minimum 10 attack, 18 defense and outwit. Obviously, that's what his job was on the team. White Wolf at 70 points, number 28 from the Thor set. I like the figure. I think he's got some good stuff there. Leadership is great, but especially because I decided to play 4 of the Hatut Zerazi. Again, I can't say this name. I've been destroying the name of these figures, and I apologize profusely to anybody who knows the correct pronunciation. Please feel free to message me the phonetic spelling of these names. So I'm going to call them generic White Wolves for the rest of this because it makes life easier. I played 4 of those. A Wakabi, obviously, for the +1 defense. And I still had like 20 points left, so I threw a Wakandan warrior on there. My first match was against, funnily enough, Devin, who's here. And he played what I sort of think of as an X-Force team with Cable at the helm, but really it was an X-Men team. So he played the common body sliding jerk Cable at 120 points. He had Surge. He had the common Dazzler from the Wolverine and the X-Men set, the one that could turn off stealth. The Cyclops First Class from the current set, Storm. The common, obviously, from the current set, Hellion, and the Moira McTaggart with the leadership and the Perplex. So he had a bunch of leadership on his team, and he had some good Perplex modifiers. So a lot of, the smart, simple stuff that wins games for you. Numbers, having lots of ways of attacking, both close and ranged, multiple attackers on his team, and mobility with TK. I decided to be really thematic with my +8 to my role and winning map, so I went to Wakanda, even though it was going to hurt my generic White Wolves with their ranged combat expert attacks. But it was worth it. It was, I wanted to make it thematic. So it was a super tight game. Devin, I knew, had reach on me, so I did some early sort of positioning, waiting for him to move forward a little more, and then I threw all my generic White Wolves at him with the hopes that I would roll my leadership with White Wolf to remove tokens from them regardless of where they are on the map. And I did. White Wolf was very successful with leadership, probably one of the best leaders I've ever had, making up for my poor performance with my leaders last week. And so I had a lot of attacking with those guys, but I was also giving up a lot of points. I was pushing those figures. They don't have long dials. I took 100 points from Devin early on in killing Dazzler and another figure, Moira. And then he took 2 of my generic White Wolves out, so we were tied up. Then I think he got ahead about another 100 points with 2 more of the generic White Wolves. And then I kind of caught back up with those 100 points. So we got to last round and we were tied at 200 points apiece, which is, I felt pretty great for my team to be tied at 200 points apiece in that game. And literally came down to last action. I knew what he could do with Cable. I was hoping to sort of make it difficult, and he got the easy hit, took the points he needed, and he won that game. My second game, I was against Glenn. Glenn is a local regular, as well as he runs the events at 401 on Thursday nights, shares the judging with Jay. Glenn is a big DC fan, and he loves the Rogues. I also love the Rogues, so we have that in common. And he decided to make a Rogues team. So he had the common Captain Boomerang, which for the life of me, I can't remember what set he's from. I want to say Trinity War. Man, it's the Digger one. It's not his son, his illegitimate son one. I'll have to look it up, and I'll get back.
That's also Flash set, right?
Maybe it is the Flash set. Actually, it probably is the Flash set.
I think
most of the Rogues were from that set, but
actually, it is the Flash set. Captain Boomerang, uncommon. Trickster, common from that set. The uncommon Top from that set, and the common Golden Glider from that set, and Rainbow Raider. Oh, Glenn. So this is what I mean by some people were playing some tougher stuff. So Cable the first round, Rainbow Raider. I didn't have too much cross figure standard color. Like he picked red, which of course hurt White Wolf and all the generic White Wolves because range combat expert and blades. But much the same scenario in terms of I picked map and I picked Wakanda again. I just said, whatever, I'm going to have fun with this whole thing. I moved out aggressively and based his Captain Boomerang and Trickster right away with 4 of my guys because really it was the Captain Boomerang I was worried about because improved targeting ignores hindering. So not only is he getting around my stealth, but he's ignoring the Wakanda benefit. Right, so I need to make it tough for him. I got up right in his face. I did what I had to do with getting out wits. Took out Captain Boomerang pretty early on. On top of that, Glenn's dice were not kind to him. He rolled a lot of 3s in that game, even with some perplexes and so forth. So my Wakandans pretty much did everything they wanted to do in that game. It was a bit of a runaway for me with good luck and high die hits. I think I had like a 6 on blades with White Wolf to 1-hit kill a figure. So it was a lot in my favor in that game. I think Glenn managed to take about 170 points in that one. And then my last game was against Richard Evans, I think is his last name. I cannot remember off the top of my head. Another local player, and he decided to go with an X-Men team as well. But I know he has a lot of other older figures. He recently, maybe I think, got back in the game or something like that. So I know he likes to play as much of his set as possible. So his team was the Warpath from the Uncanny X-Men set. He played an X-Student at 15 points, the Common Marvel Girl from the recent set, Common Storm from the recent set, the Uncommon Cyclops from this set, and from Uncanny X-Men, and the Uncommon Wolverine from Uncanny X-Men for exactly 400 points. I didn't win map roll this time, really, unfortunately. I wanted to do a trifecta of Wakanda, and definitely against his team, because it would have helped not only slow down a bit of his team, but make it more effective. He chose one of the Star Trek maps, not the dungeon. So I don't know what the other one is called, but it was not the dungeon, or whatever it's called, underground, or whatever that thing is with all the crazy blocking. It was not that one. Something like that. It was not
time or something.
Yeah, it was not the one with all the blocking. It was the other one, which had not a lot of hindering. It had like a throne room thing of hindering. Well, my whole team lived on that, basically. I sidestepped out all my generic White Wolves. I got into position there. And then he was already all the way up the map and ready to engage me. I think he underestimated what my generic White Wolves could do with all the sidestepping and the range combat expert. He did play very smart with Storm and that free smoke cloud. He used it effectively to boost up his defenses and to make it a lot harder for me. And I did miss a bunch of attacks in that game. But eventually I took her out. He made one misstep where he didn't put her into the smoke cloud, and I was able to outwit smoke cloud on him so that subsequent turns he wasn't able to pull it back up again. And that's when I really started to hit with the range combat expert from the generic White Wolves and took out the X-Men. So at the end of the day, my Wakandans actually went 2-1, and the only loss was an incredibly close loss to Devon. So it was a lot of fun to play that team and to actually have it be an effective team. And again, something to say for a lot of the synergistic stuff that WizKids has been putting into the figures lately in terms of named keywords. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. But that was it. That was my only Heroclix this week. So over to you, I guess, Devin.
I'm actually going to put him last because the aforementioned.
Oh, fair enough.
And because it minimizes how much time he has to talk.
I only have to tell one actual story, so it works well.
Yeah, that was a buy. It would have been really cool. We had the Thursday event, which was like 300 gold and do whatever. I played Gotham Underworld with Chair Joker, Title Harley, Fast Forces Penguin, Kite Man, Big Tony, 2 Joker thugs from Joker's Wild, and the Superman action figure, because like Henry and the Pym tank, it doesn't break theme anymore, and it just has leadership, which is really good for swarm teams. So just throw it in there because I had 7 other figures and I really need that leadership. So I sat the first round out because we had 3 players, and then I played round 2 against Manny, who, despite never getting to play because he's in law school, is a very frighteningly skilled player in the art area. He was playing Justice League, and it was really weird how his team worked out to exactly 300 points, considering those figures from 3 different sets. He had Shifting Focus Superman, Trinity War Batman at lower points, and the Chase Wonder Woman from Harley Quinn. So 125 plus 90 plus 85 happened to work out exactly perfectly. So I won map roll and put us on the office because didn't have so much hindering because his whole team had stealth from the Trinity War Batman trait, and the Wonder Woman doesn't fly, so I figured I would give her a little bit of a hard time. So basically, I move up a little, he moves up a little. I think, what did I do? I was really afraid of his Batman because he could pick poison and just poison through my mastermind, which would have been really annoying. So I think I basically I forced the issue by moving up and basing his Wonder Woman with my Joker with the penetrating poison because he was higher points than the whole opposing team. So yes, I based his Superman and his Wonder Woman with the Joker, not next to Batman. So he shifted focused into the Quake version of Superman, I think, and then did a Precision Strike Quake, but I still managed to mastermind because there were other characters that weren't targeted. I then, 1 or 2 turns later, Superman was dead because he had been on the toughness clicks on the... Yeah, I hit him 1 turn onto Super Sense's shape change, and then it was just a matter of time. Meanwhile, I'm poisoning Wonder Woman, and Harley is punching the Penguin repeatedly in the face in order to not take feedback title character damage. So I managed to pull off calling in the Harley tokens 2 times that game. That combo is pretty gross for casual, and I will never be able to run it again because it is so good. So I ended up getting 4 Harleys, and I think I ended up... the Wonder Woman was still on Impervious. I had to perplex up damage. I think I got 1 hit in with them, and then I basically missed a whole bunch of other attacks because the Batman has 17 reflexes and then other powers. So he poisons a bunch of them, and I kill the Wonder Woman. Then it's down to basically just his Batman. But if I base him, he can poison me. So he poisons me, and I hit him, and I eventually kill him. But it was really annoying how just his Batman having pick a power poison was just so vital to thwarting my strategy, especially under new rules. Where under old rules I wouldn't have cared, so I would just mastermind the poison. And the fact that you can poison the Joker doesn't really make too much thematic comic sense, but that's another issue entirely. Then I played against Kevin for the last round of the tournament, and he was running Court of Owls, so it was basically mastermind on mastermind action. He basically was creeping up with sidesteps and whatnot. I move up. I basically cross the map between Kite Man being awesome, just moving. He makes some attacks. I make some attacks. I get rid of all his Court of Owl initiates for Mastermind. I end up winning the game. I lose some points. I did call on the Harleys at one point. I think I got 4 of them on the one time I got to use them, and that was fun. So yeah, Title Harley plus Penguin is really, really, really good, especially when Nighthawk goes away, so you're not concerned about no pluses. So that was fun, and then on the Sunday, I had started to take notes because I got a cool fountain pen and some notebooks because I wanted to start taking notes at competitive tournaments for potential articles of results. So I do have very extensive notes. For Sunday, I played Fear Itself Valkyrie, What If Common Thor, the common Loki from the Mighty Thor with the optional trait. The Mighty Thor set Valkyrie generic, Jane Foster, and a thug to fill in the points. So I had +8 at 400 points, which is pretty decent. I won map roll every game of the 3 games, and I picked the Staten Island Ferry every single time, because the terrain is just ridiculously annoying, confusing, as people will, I guess only one person on this show will attest, but it was pretty annoying. In round 1, I played against Tom with just the weirdest assortment of random cacophony of nonsense. He had Shatterstar from Wolverine and the X-Men, Justin Seifert with an Ultron 8 drone as the Sentinel, so Justin was actually higher points than the Sentinel, but during the game it wasn't considered to be lower points because of the trait, which was weird, but still I paid 30 points for Justin to be the Sentinel for whatever. Shifting Focus Superman. Shifting Focus, so he didn't have the rare Shifting Focus Superman, which is whatever. He had Shifting Focus Strange, which he does lose out on the rare, which is pretty bad, but it didn't matter because he turned into Dr. Stark very, very quickly. He also had Shifting Focus Black Panther, Weasel, and the Common Ragdoll, which is the one with the weird activation click, unavoidable damage, plasticity, weirdness. I ended up generating 5 Lokis because my shape change rolls were really good. And at the end of the game, neither of us had done the math, and I thought I was winning, but it turns out I was not. It was like an 18-point difference. He got like 205, and I got 18 points less than that. So that was a loss. And then round 2 was against Richard, the aforementioned X-Men team. I think I picked the Mind Control Super Senses click on the student because the range was so bad, and if you wanted to mind control my Lokis, that was fine, especially because I can make them generate more. So I won map roll. I generated 4 Lokis this game, which became a repeating pattern of less and less. I did manage to turn it into Jane Thor as well this game. He got, I think the only points, he didn't get points, but I think he KO'd some Loki illusions, but I wiped him. And then I played against Devin with his cableness. I killed Moira, Cyclops, and Storm, and at a certain point I was down to just the original Loki and one of the clones, and you astutely pointed out that that meant it was mathematically impossible for you to lose unless you just did really, really dumb things. And you never attacked Lokis when they were on their shape change rolls, so I had 0 of them. I wrote a little angry face. I drew a little angry face next to the 0. because I really wanted to make the Lokis. But yeah, Cable won the tournament surprisingly enough. So we get to hear Devin talk about the one game you haven't already described.
Yeah, so you've already heard my team. Played against Mike in the first round and came down to very last action with Cable killing off, who was it, White Wolf, I think? I'm pretty sure it was White Wolf. And then the second round was against Tom, whose team Jay has already described. And against Tom, I chose Harley's apartment because I have never played on that map and it sounded interesting. So I moved up a little bit and just set myself up in a good defensive position where all of my people had like 20 defense or stealth, because it was basically impossible for him to initiate across the map and hit people with that much defense, because I also had a bunch of theme probs and stuff. So he used his Justin to run his Ultron drone all the way across the map to try to hit my Hellion and one-shot him. And so he hit, and I theme probbed it, and then he missed, only needing a 5. He missed his second attack, and then he probbed it with Dr. Stark, which was his only prob, and crit missed, and killed his Ultron drone on the first turn to a crit miss. And then he moved with Shatterstar's trait across the map with Ragdoll to base Cable and Dazzler and Storm, I believe. So the next turn, I used Cyclops and Surge to kill off Shatterstar, and I outwitted the shape change on Ragdoll and just... Actually, no, I outwitted the combat reflexes on Ragdoll and killed him with Cable and Dazzler as well. So he was down 3 pieces already because of terrible dice luck with the crit miss on the Ultron drone. The game would have probably gone quite differently had he not missed that. He shift focused into the Leap Climb Quake version of Superman because it's amazing, and Leap climbed where Ragdoll was, basing Dazzler and Storm and Cable, and quaked Dazzler and Storm out of hindering, and then shift focused with his Black Panther to kill Dazzler, and also used, I think, Dr. Stark to kill off Storm, because she only had 15 defense at that point, because her second half of her dial doesn't have very much defense at all. On my turn, I outwitted the shape change on his Superman and killed him with Cable and Cyclops. And then it was just sort of cleanup from there, but it took a really, really long time for me to kill his Black Panther. And his Justin and Weasel were running around outwitting Surge's movement power so that Surge could do basically nothing for the rest of the game. She had to keep going and basing people and hoping that they couldn't break away, because otherwise she was never going to get to hypersonic and do much. It took me like a ridiculous number of turns, like 6 or something, to kill his Black Panther, and his Black Panther got my Cable down to his 3rd last click, which probably shouldn't have happened. I missed like 3 5s, but made the game a lot closer than it would have been otherwise, and made up for his crit miss with the Ultron drone a little bit. But I did win that game in the end. Yeah, and then my last round was against Jay to complete the Metal Lab Gauntlet. And I killed off his... I dealt a lot of damage to his Fear Itself Valkyrie, and then killed his Mighty Thor Valkyrie, and finished off his Fear Itself Valkyrie, killed a Loki clone by getting rid of its shape change so that it wouldn't spawn another Loki clone. Killed his Thor a couple turns after that, and then, like he said, refused to do anything with Cable, because if I took an action, then he could potentially incapacitate me off of invulnerable, and then he could do damage, so I didn't want to do that. And went 3-0, so that was a good tournament for me.
Yeah, it took you also ridiculously long time to kill the last.
Oh yeah, that's true, actually. Yeah, it took like... It was like 7 turns that we went back and forth, and you needed to hit a 9 twice in a row, and I needed to hit 1-8, and I couldn't hit 1-8 with 2 attacks per turn for like 7 turns. So we just sat there and did nothing effectively for 7 turns. It was interesting, because Jay pushed onto the stop click on Loki so that he could actually potentially do damage to Cable, because otherwise my sitting there and doing nothing with Cable meant that he literally couldn't do damage.
It was interesting. Although I think if the next time we do the format, we'll, like we talked about, allow starters, fast forces, and then gravity feed commons, but just disallow uncommons because that's kind of simpler. And uncommons are not like impossible, not like hard to get, but still more than commons. So it would have only not allowed one of my figures.
Same
I had
with
the
Surge.
Oh no, not Surge. The most important. Oh wait, what? Who's
Could
Surge?
use an X trainee instead. I mean,
Yeah.
Surge has
That
better
really
stats,
screwed up
but-
Mike's team though.
Yeah, White Wolf is quite important to that generic Wakanda team,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially with the
Well,
number
I
of
wouldn't-
leaderships you were actually rolling.
Well, and I also had the uncommon Black Panther, so
That's true.
I wouldn't have played that team, obviously.
Is Wakabi uncommon too?
Cannot
I
remember.
think he's like 015 maybe. I don't know.
Hold on. He's right. Son of a. Where are you going? What's happening? He is number 32.
That's
He is an
almost certainly
uncommon. He's an uncommon.
Yeah,
yes.
that team really doesn't work without it then.
No, it's three things on my team that really make that team.
You could really just play Hatut Zarate and the shifting focus Black Panther and a Wakandan warrior, which would be a significantly worse team.
No.
Do either of you have anything else you wanted to discuss before we jump into the user questions?
Nope.
No. Okay. We have Mike not actually asking a question. Lucas Tom Van Holland says we are Groot. Okay. Michael Fedor asks, hello, long-time listener, first-time caller. I'm pretty stoked that we'll be getting a Jen Walters, She-Hulk, and her lawyer courtroom attire as revealed in previews. Can you rate on just how valuable she is in casual or meta? I think we all pretty much agreed last week that not at all meta, casual, not even. I'm not playing her in casual. I would play any other She-Hulk first.
She's fine for 50 points.
She's 50 points, but I can upgrade to the 75-point other one with Charge Flurry, Perplex, all that good stuff for not too much more of a point investment. Like, I don't see why I would want to play a sidestepping brawler.
Well, I would play her thematically for the whole potential to create the -2 defense, because you do have close combat expert. You put it all into her attack, so she has a 12 attack. She just has to hit. She doesn't have to damage the figure to do -2 to their defense. So maybe you're playing her on an Avengers or Lady Liberators team to help out some bigger hitters get defenses down. That's the only thought I would have of why I would play her over other She-Hulks. But
And she has Indom for 50 points, which is nice.
Yeah.
She's not the worst figure ever, but like...
No, I mean, she's playable. She's not amazing. And the sculpt is awesome. So
no, definitely not meta, though. Not meta.
No, not meta at all.
If she had the shield keyword, I would at least throw her in my sideline before retirement, but I'm not using the She-Hulk ID card. So, sorry. We have Brandon Lambert asks, what 4 figures do you each want most from the new set, and what about them is appealing to you? Groot, because Guardians of the Galaxy and meta. Cosmo, because it's Cosmo. Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic, maybe meta. And I really like the Dial. 2x2 Hulk, because he looks pretty cool, and it's a Hulk. And Chase Thor, because I collect Asgardians, and throwing Mjolnir on him is thematic and also makes him much, much better. Which one of you? Is one of you unprepared? You both prepared?
I'm prepared.
Okay, then we'll go with you, Devin.
So Pip the Troll, because a lot of fun as a cosmic taxi, which is something that didn't exist before, and helps Mistress Death get into possession and then make attacks without having to token before she makes an attack, which is nice. Infinity, because I love all of the abstracts, but Infinity is one of the abstracts that I can actually see playing. quite low points at lower points, and does some interesting things with modifying your stats and your opponents, as well as being able to move around your cosmic people and then still allow them to make attacks. So also barrier, so if you're indoors, you can at least protect her so she doesn't die quite as quickly. And the Living Tribunal, because, oh man, awesome, random, cool trait that allows him to make rulings. Very cool cosmic piece. Very nice abstracts trait, which is that your opponent has one less action in their action pool. I'm fairly confident. Let me just make sure that I'm not lying. There we go. Yeah, your opposing force gets action total -1, which is potentially ridiculous. If they have no leadership on their team and stuff, 2 actions per turn is pretty bad. But also, it's only if your team is smaller than theirs. So, but I mean, if you have a 150-point Living Tribunal in your team, it probably is. And then Groot, because I think he's the best piece so far in the set. Amazing for meta. Very, very fun. I'm looking forward to him immensely.
Mike?
Well, I'm going to take advantage of the fact that you guys mentioned a bunch of the ones I would have said in my top 4, like Groot and Cosmo, because same reason why Jay likes Cosmo. I like Cosmo, Guardians of the Galaxy, and I think the figure is fun and thematic, and I'm totally in that world. So I'm going to pick, 4. It's like I get to actually pick like 6 or 7 now. But anyway, I'm looking forward to obviously Unseen. As I mentioned before, I think that figure is going to be fantastic. I'm really excited for it. I'm building all kinds of teams in my head already that work around him. I like the Venom Space Knight. I actually think that figure is a pretty cool figure. He's got some great values to start with: 11 attack, 18 defense, psychic blast, running shot, 3 damage with a perplex. He ignores hindering and elevated moving. He's got traded plasticity and shape change and automatically breaks away. With a whole bunch of great keywords: Spider-Man family, Space Knight, Cosmic, Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thunderbolts. So I'm going to be playing him in some Golden Age events. And give him Avengers Initiative so he can ignore some hindering while he's running Psychic Blast. So I'm actually really looking forward to him. What was the other one? Sorry, I want to save that other one for last. Nova. I like the Richard Rider Nova. Again, it's not necessarily meta, though. Could be. 150 points for all the stuff that he does, and he gives himself protected outwit. So, I think there's something there for this figure potentially. He brings his own leadership to the game. Sadly, can't take a token off himself. But, anyway, I also, because it'll be fun. Avengers, Guardians of the Galaxy, Nova Corps, and Cosmic keywords. And I like the figure because I also liked the Annihilation storyline, and this is the World Mind Nova from that storyline, really. And the last one of my 4 picks has got to be Wasp, part of the Avengers. Here is a colossal title character with some really interesting title abilities that can be utilized. Her -3 to activate the pin particles and make people small and around her or big or whatever. That's going to be really effective. I'm actually I really hope I pull her so I can try her out and see what kind of stuff she does. She's just got so much going on this dial, and with these title abilities, yeah, I'm pretty stoked for her. And I got to give, of course, a shout out to the Sentries, the Kree Sentries. I hope I managed to get multiples of those so I can make some crazy Kree teams again. So, but overall, it's going to be a really fun set. I was reading the Annihilation series again recently to get myself back in the cosmic mindset. And I do follow Guardians of the Galaxy still, current storyline. And so I'm excited for a lot of these figures. Cosmo. It's been a while since we've had a Cosmo. It was actually Galactic Guardians, wasn't it? The last time we had Cosmo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah,
And this one is a little better.
Yeah, I'm excited for him.
But
it's too bad that special power is not in his first click, but that's okay. I still love Cosmo. I'm a dog guy.
South busting out what is still pretty good.
Yeah, right?
It's a good trade-off. What else do we have? Chris Mooney asks, what about Unseen? Yes, we all like him a lot. Some more than others. Some people really love Nick Fury all of a sudden. Chris Stockhouse asks, is 2 Groots going overboard or being too greedy? Also, which other characters do you want to get the title character treatment, and what should they do? 2 Groots, that's 40 points. I don't know. Considering that they can't retaliate and also like live, I don't even know if that's necessarily good. I feel like probably just better off doing Groot and then something else instead of those other 20 points. Especially with leadership not stacking anymore. As far as title characters, I was looking at the Batman animated series set. I mean, we're almost certainly getting Batman. I don't know what he would do. I mean, it depends on how fanboy Batman can do he wasn't like that in the show. I have no idea. But it would also be cool. I mean, it's probably not going to happen anytime soon, but it would be cool to get a Lex Luthor because he's also like a scheming kind of character. Like, I guess in this game, you kind of have to make him as an attacker, otherwise he just doesn't do as much. But although then again, title characters have to make attacks or they don't get to do their stuff. I don't know. But still, it's not like we're going to get another Joker one because we already got one. So it'd be interesting to see who else we get in the Batman animated series set. Although, we haven't gotten a second one in this set, so maybe there won't be 2. But regardless, Mike, how about those multiple Groots?
I pretty much agree on your assessment. Like, it's not really necessary. You could probably better spend those 20 points. If you want to do it and somehow find a way to generate more of those walking trees there or whatever, walking wood, I mean, that would be fun to get even more of them out. But the fact that it caps at 5 anyway, right? If there's 5 in the map, they're both affected by that 5 cap. It's not like,
no, I don't think so. I'm pretty sure that's each of them counts for themselves.
I don't know if it's saying if there's 5 of those bystanders on the map already.
How's it worded? I have to pull up the preview image. I already closed it. It just says maximum 5 or whatever, right?
Yeah, but I thought it said you can't generate any more if there's 5 on the map. I thought that's
maximum 5 on the map.
So if it's saying maximum of those bystanders,
there's a lot of other characters that do that kind of thing, like Namors that make the Atlantean Pogs each refer to themselves. I don't know.
Well, if it's stackable, then maybe, but if not, and you're capped at 5, then yeah. I mean, I don't really think I would waste those those 20 points on a second Groot. Also, like you mentioned, because leadership's not stackable anymore. Sorry, what was the other part of the question again? I actually had a good answer. Spider-Man. I think we should give Spider-Man. You know, I don't know what kind of title you give him. There's lots of different ones. Friendly Neighborhood, something like that. Thinking of abilities off the top of my head, something relating to his ability to taunt, to have like witty banter that throws off his opponent. So something where he either adds a plot point and picks a character, and that character gets -1 to all their stats for the turn. As a means of like, this is him using his distracting witty banter to taunt a person and make their abilities go down, or maybe it's -2 to their attack instead of -1 to all their abilities, something like that. So, but I think Spider-Man 100% should be a figure Marvel does a title character of. I think he's one of their main top type figures. We've had a Thor. We have a Captain America. I think it's pretty obvious that we'll also get an Iron Man at some point that's a title character too. I would be so down with Iron Man, the drunk. That would be fun. But you know, those would be the two right away in my head: Iron Man and Spider-Man, that I think are definitely due for title characters and will be getting title characters eventually.
Well, I mean, it's just a matter of the rotation of when we get the new Spider-Man set, because there's always a Spider-Man set in modern.
Yep, exactly.
I'm pretty sure his ultimate would tie into Marvel Team Up, where he would get a similar ability to the Transporter from Star Trek, where he gets to call a character in because he teams up with literally everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, what else would you do for an ultimate for him?
Yeah.
So, Devin?
Amazing Friends, right? They could call it his Amazing Friend. All right, anyway. Go ahead, Devin.
Yeah, as far as Groots go, it's not necessarily a bad idea. We were talking about not necessarily wanting to retaliate with them, because then you lose your leadership. So having a backup one for an extra leadership is potentially kind of nice, but it's not like incredible or anything. As far as who I would want to see as a title character, I think since I'm a huge X-Men fan, we're going to obviously see some more X-Men title characters in whatever the X-Men set is. Obviously, Magneto and Professor X sort of made sense as the first ones, but I think we'll eventually see a Cyclops one. We'll almost certainly see a Wolverine title character at some point, because Wolverine is incredibly popular. So we'll probably see him. And he could even have a similar power to Spider-Man, just called something like, I'm on all the teams.
Yeah, exactly. Wolverine on every team.
Just call in whoever you want from outside of the game. The loner who's on literally every single team ever created.
Hilarious.
We have Mick Miller asks Groot versus Flora.
Groot.
I don't think it's a either or thing. I think it's how many Floras do you play in addition to your Groot? I mean, they share keywords. There's no... I don't know why you couldn't just do 1 and 1. I mean, if you really have to decide, I don't see Groot being better than Flora, unfortunately. And I'm glad PJ isn't here to cry or to be mad at me and ever be my friend again. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I also agree that they're just kind of different. I don't think it's really an either or necessarily, but I like Groot more. They just do different things. Flora Colossus is there to hopefully heal up and tank a bunch of damage, whereas Groot is there to spawn a bunch of pogs and stuff, which potentially do a better job at tanking damage because they're less random than the Flora is. So I would definitely pick Groot if I had to pick.
Mike?
Yeah, Groot.
That's it for Facebook. We jump onto Facebook post in the Radio Clixed group. Brian Poling asks, with so many generic keywords getting such fantastic options in the past couple sets, what other generic keywords should receive the same kind of love? I vote celebrity or politician. I cannot disagree with politician. That keyword has had some surprisingly fun stuff going on. Devin?
I have played a surprising number of celebrity-themed teams over the years, so that getting some additional love is always good with me.
Mike?
Generic keywords, eh? I'm trying to think.
You don't like those things too much?
No, it's not really my cup of tea, though. I always have a soft place for the animal keyword because I'm an animal lover and all that stuff. I feel like martial artists disappeared a little bit over the past. I mean, there's probably some in Harley, but I feel like we haven't seen as much. And there was a time when that was a pretty gnarly generic keyword. There was a lot of stuff and a lot of options out there. I think those options have thinned out. I'm trying to think of anything else really, because you guys already really mentioned the other ones that I would have thought of that have kind of thinned in terms of the generic keyword. So yeah, no, I think you guys covered.
I've seen you play that before.
Which one?
Future.
Yeah, sometimes. Really just when I'm playing the Kingdom Come guys, though, because they don't have a named keyword to play them together. So that's usually the only reason I end up playing Future is for those guys. So, and but that, there's still some stuff out there for that. So, yeah.
That's it for Facebook. So we move on to YouTube chat number 1. Because there are 2 of them, but there are not that many questions. So if you want to get a question in, now is your very last second opportunity. We have Nolan Lake who asks, how would you rate the following keywords with the previews in mind? Animal, Cosmic, Guardians of the Galaxy, and X-Men. I don't think there's no X-Men in this set. So
no, in addition.
Animal is good, like B tier maybe. Cosmic is like one over the best. Guardians of the Galaxy, I don't really see being fantastic. Because, like, what is there? There's a couple from this set. There's the movie set. Like, nothing spectacular there. I don't see any meta happening there. And X-Men, losing that Magneto is rough. But, yeah, I mean, there's definitely potential there still. So, yeah. Mike?
I'm going to split that up in this way. I'm going to take the generic and I'm going to take the named, because really there's almost sort of 2 different ways of looking at it. If I look at the Cosmic and the Animal, I think this set, you come out with Cosmic being really benefiting and definitely a generic keyword that you want to look at, and maybe even a little bit more power and potential in that generic keyword than Animal. Though King Shark and the Tribbles, man, there's a lot of good stuff there. And now you got a Cosmo and stuff like that. But I think Cosmic just edges out Animal. And then going over to the name side, I think X-Men is still better off than Guardians of the Galaxy. I think there's a lot of great stuff that just came out in that X-Men set. Obviously, way more X-Men keyword options than there are Guardians of the Galaxy one, because everything pre this set has pretty much been retired that is Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, there's very few figures out there that have that keyword that are still legal once retirement hits. Like, definitely, hard pressed to think of more than 5 figures that might actually have Guardians of the Galaxy pre this set that will still be legal post retirement. So I think X-Men is a very effective keyword, and obviously losing Magneto hurts it because you don't have that option of turning other people into X-Men so easily. But with the 25-point Lila as a taxi and things like 25-point Moira to give you leadership and perplex for X-Men characters, I think it's a very useful keyword. But that being said, there is actually some good stuff in this set for Guardians. I mean, right off the top of my head, I know that I could make a team with Cosmo at 70 points and Space Knight Venom at 125. So that's only 195 points. And I've got TK with Running Shot, Psychic Blast, and a Perplex there, plus an Outwit. So that's not bad. Not necessarily meta, but you could add more stuff to it. So, yeah, that's kind of how I feel about those keywords. Ranking them, putting them all back together, I think Cosmic is really the one you want to look at right now. There's so many different options. We have stuff left over from Thor that had a lot of bite to it. We've got much more sort of fill-in pieces now with Cosmic. There's a lot of lower point figures sneaking into this set, mixed in with the higher point figures. So I think you have a lot of build options Cosmic. So I think if I had to rank one out of those 4 as the winner right now, I think that's the one I would pick.
Devin?
Yeah, Cosmic is definitely the best, I think, as well. It has 2 of the best archetypes for builds right now, which are Unimind and Mistress Death. Also, Lockjaw as a prize figure helps it out, and then in the new set. There's just a ton of additional things that you can add to it. Guardians of the Galaxy, and a lot of new stuff was added in this set, but it all has sort of the weird thing of actually mostly being worse when it's on a Guardians of the Galaxy theme team. Like, Protected Outwit is nice, but a lot of it really benefits from the +1 to its stats. So, I don't know. It's sort of strange for things to be worse when they're on a theme team that they have a keyword for. I mean, Protected Outwit is really good. I'm not going to say that it's not, but +1 attack and defense is amazing. X-Men Xavier School is a great set. As until retirement, X-Men is still up there in competitive. After retirement, X-Men will appear in almost every competitive team as ID cards, but less often on its own 2 feet, I think. I don't think we'll be seeing very many actual X-Men themed teams, but who knows? Maybe somebody will come up with something really cool for that. Animal, King Shark and Tribbles are awesome. Added in this set, there was definitely some interesting things, but nothing that really stood out to me as like making Animal incredibly viable. Nothing like Groot or Pip for Cosmic.
Yeah, I'm just actually looking through my Guardians stuff, and
and there's still the gravity feed that will be legal after retirement, right? For Guardians,
I like Baby Groot on his own. Rocket
Yondu is quite good, although obviously almost impossible to get.
I like Rocket and Groot, the con, with Bill specifically. They do have Invincible.
Does Groot Thor have the keyword from TMT?
No. The Iron Rocket Man does, but the Groot Thor doesn't. But I don't think the Groot Thor is very good anyway.
No, he's not meta at all.
He's really not. There's a couple, but like, I don't think this set makes or breaks the keyword. It's just mediocre as far as meta goes right now. But yeah, that was it for that one. Let me jump into the other YouTube, where we have Aaron asked who Devin was, and I told him that Devin is a good local player. Question: when is Canadian Nationals? I don't think we have an official confirmed date. I think we have like a speculative July 15th based on that event they put up. Like,
they put up an event that says July 15th. That's all we know.
We don't know anything for sure.
We don't even know where it is for sure.
It's frustrating.
Yeah. On the Nationals, the Nationals page has like the full details for US and UK, but not for Canada place. We'll see. We have a question, I guess the last question of the night. How would you build around Lockjaw? I mean, Death is good. I mean, it's not so much how you build around him because he's only 75 points. He's not your primary piece. It's more what you add to him with the rest of the team. But yeah, Death is good with him, especially because he has respectable damage once you take into account her Touch of Death. He can TK Mjolnir onto her, all that good stuff. He can survive Shredders by either picking Invincible or just surviving a while. Unimine's good because Unimind is good. Just Unimind is good. And he has, what else? He has Animal, Cosmic. Can't remember. Inhumans is like basically non-existent.
Yeah.
The other relevant keywords.
Yeah,
I guess Lockjaw could technically like support Unimind too, technically, right?
Oh, Pet Avengers.
That'd be good.
Keyword.
Yeah, you could end up on that support and help out Unimind.
Yeah, being able to like TK King Shark plus the free move is good.
Yep.
Animal's not a bad keyword. It's just not as amazing as it was in previous eras where we had stuff like Alyosha.
It's still really good right now. I think it's really good. He's great mastermind fodder. We already know that because he doesn't really die.
Yeah, I've tried it. I feel like that's not going to be viable with the Professor X ID existing to just separate your fodder.
An interesting thing with Mastermind now, with some of the new chases with Mastermind, is that if you're doing Cosmic Team, you can include one of the Colossals, the abstracts, and they're not able to be targeted by attacks with multiple targets, so you can't prevent them from masterminding with the energy explosion.
I think energy explosion still works. It just says you become the target.
Maybe.
I know it does bypass shape change. Like if you roll shape change for say
Yeah.
energy explosion, it still works.
Yeah,
I don't know. I guess it has to be ruled on, but like there hasn't been a rules forum post in about a month now, so
Well, you at least couldn't avoid it by having 2 lightning bolts, so.
yeah, I don't think energy explosion is relevant enough in competitive that it actually is a concern. Like the Jubilee call-in, which is okay, I guess, but
Multiple targets is really more common.
I just don't think that Mastermind is so good right now because Shredders exist and just completely ignore it. So,
It is.
what was the question even? Oh, what do you play with Lockjaw? Yeah, I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, Mistress Death, Unimind, King Shark, maybe.
Stuff. Lots of stuff. More new stuff to come. Cosmic. More stuff.
Yeah, I mean, we could probably continue listing things, but
It's just basically listing the Cosmic keyword at that point.
exactly. Let's just list the entire modern Cosmic keyword. That might take a while.
Okay, starting from the top, we have Loka. No. Yeah, so that looks to be it. So we will do the ad read and then we'll be done in this ridiculously, surprisingly long show. I'll go, I guess. A couple minutes there where I had to redo the show because I messed up. I messed up, you guys. It happens. So we have sponsors. One of them is MajesticCCG.com. Check out their eBay store and their online store. Check out the premium site, MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. We have lots of great articles, some great minds in Heroclix. PJ is a regular contributor. Pat posts articles sometimes. Easton does. Adam Friedman posts really, really long and good ones. You get team lists before events. If you want to get the one up on PJ or whoever before an event, it will tell you their teams in advance if you pay the money. We're also supported by the ROC, and they have their website up at roc.ionsweet. If you want to host a ROC, they have a section for that and all the information there. Check out the forum, keep up with the news. Check out the podcasts in the section they have on the site for all the various podcasts. And as we sign off on this week's Meta Lab, always remember, practice makes your team better, and have a great night. Good night, everybody. In the broadcast.